Guys, welcome back to this week's episode of Unleash Your Inner Greatness. And on this week's episode, we welcome Anil Gupta, who is an expert on relationships and happiness. Anil is the founder of the Happiness Formula, sitting with successful people throughout his journey and really come from a place of his own struggles, battling with suicide many years back, to then transform his life to become a world expert in happiness and mindset. He's spoken at Harvard University, Fox News. He's a best-selling author, TEDx speaker. He's spent time with the likes of Richard Branson on Necker Island, Queens, presidents, prime ministers, and many other well-known figures. I feel like I'm in the presence of greatness today. Anil, welcome to Unleash Your Inner Greatness.
Joseph, thank you so much. And, we all have greatness inside of us. I didn't know I had a greatness inside of me until I was suicidal. So I know that people are going through a lot of issues and a lot of concerns, but just know that there is greatness inside of you. Just look for it.
It's awesome. I love that that sort of annotation, and that what a way to start the interview. You have greatness within you. I love that. The old Les Brown echoing Les's connotations. I was gonna just, with all my guests, Anil, I just start with the notion of gratitude. I was just wondering, like, what you're most grateful for in your life right now.
I'm just grateful for my family. I live in a beautiful place. I can do what I like when I want, when I want, how I want. I have a lot of freedom, and I get to change people's lives. There's nothing greater than being able to change someone's life. I've got my hands. When was the last time you thanked your hands? I've got my skin. I've got my eyes. So, people think gratitude has to be a big thing. Really, it's not a big thing. There's something I'm really grateful for. Ready?
Yeah.
My ability to make people laugh.
I've seen that on a few of your talks, actually. It's really important. I've been thinking about that more and more recently. For those who can't see Anil and I on the video, he's just put on a red, what would you call it? A red
nose.
A red nose.
Yeah.
On his nose, and it's
carry it everywhere I go.
Why is it, Anil, that with age, I'm 37 right now, and I know, like, in my 20s, I was a bit more lighthearted than I am now. Why is it that we lose the sense of having fun and sort of we take ourselves more seriously?
It's baggage.
Wow.
We pick up more baggage. We've gotten more hurt. People have upset us. We get a little bit more cynical. We start watching the news. When we're kids, we never watch the news. So as you get older, you watch the news and it's doom and gloom, and then you start to react. When you're young, you have these dreams and you're unstoppable and you're invincible, and then people start knocking you down, and then you think, wow, and then you get comfortable. That's a problem. See, when you're young, you're not comfortable. When you get older, you get comfortable. And when you're comfortable, you can't grow. The only time you grow is when you're uncomfortable. And as human beings, we need to be comfortable about being uncomfortable and become uncomfortable about being comfortable, because that's the greatest growth. Get uncomfortable, and I promise you, you'll grow.
Yep. All growth comes from stretching ourselves and pushing ourselves. I noticed, actually, funny enough, during this quarantine, I was a bit bored, to be honest, and I tried. Have you ever tried planking, the exercise of plank?
Yeah, my wife can do it for 8 minutes.
Unbelievable. It's pretty. What's your record?
Probably 3 minutes.
So I pushed myself to 5, and then I was at like 4 minutes 30, and I was struggling, and I went online that night and I looked up who's the world Guinness record holder for the plank.
Yeah, we did too. And like it was 6 hours.
Yeah, George Hood, who did like 8 hours 15 minutes. So I got him on the podcast.
Oh, fantastic!
But I agree with you. Like, just that point. The plank was tough, and I actually did grow as a person. I feel stronger, and so
absolutely, it's a core exercise. But can I correct you with something?
Yeah, of course.
I'm not in quarantine. I'm on staycation.
On staycation, words are powerful.
Words are everything.
They are everything.
When people break up, they say, "I'm devastated. He stabbed me in the back." Really? No. Change the language. If you change the language, you change your life.
Wow. Gee, I was thinking we'd get into sort of a bit of a transformational conversation in around 20-minute mark, but I think within the first 5 minutes, I think we've changed more minds than most of the podcasts I've done. I do want to jump in though. Like I listened to your TEDx talk, and for everyone who's listening, please listen to Anil's TEDx talk on his happiness formula. But would you briefly be able to sort of give us a rundown on how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, so I was an optometrist in London, and then in 2002 I moved to the USA, and in 2008, in the crisis, I lost everything in the stock market, real estate, everything, and really I just felt so down, and I felt suicidal, and I got invited to a very special event with Tony Robbins, and fortunately I knew him, and we were friends, so he did an intervention on me. His wife did an intervention on me. His wife's brother did an intervention on me. And that really started the ball rolling, because I was in a terrible place. I wouldn't eat with a knife, with a knife, just in case I had a moment of madness and did something stupid. All it takes is, less than a minute of craziness. A crazy thought goes in your head and it becomes real, and you think, that's the easy way out. Even today, when I overlook a building, I can't look down, because it just reminds me of something that I could have done. And but really, I know people are going through adversity at the moment, but please know that adversity is your friend, that this too shall pass, and that you will overcome this, and that there's greatness on the other side. It's not what happens in life, but who you become. And I urge you to just breathe, and if you're in adversity, just do one thing. I promise you, if you just do this one thing, everything changes. And what I did was this: I gave. In the minute you give authentically, without wanting anything in return, all the pain and suffering disappears. So you have to change the focus from you to somewhere else. And if you do that, I promise you an immediate change.
What drives people from focusing on themselves so much, Anil?
So explain. Ask me again. Sorry.
What drives us to focus so much on ourselves rather than
Really?
focusing on? Because if the answer is to focus to give and to focus on other people, and I agree, like you feel so much better. But why do we focus so much on ourselves?
Well, it's easier, and it's a muscle we haven't exercised. The secret is basically we have to disappear. When we disappear, the ego disappears. As human beings, we have certain traits. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not lovable. There's something wrong with me. I don't belong. I'm not a success. I'll never be successful. And I need to forgive. We have all these issues, and they're all compounded, when things start going wrong. But as soon as you focus on someone else, the fear disappears. When the fear disappears, you can start thinking more clearly. And that's the thing people are looking for, is clarity.
Yeah. And in terms of when you were in, I know in your talk you mentioned about the response that your wife gave you when you fronted up with the news that you'd lost everything. Could you take us back to that place? Because I think there's a lot to be learned by the way that she fronted up with the news that you had to her.
Yeah, absolutely. It was November 20th, 2008, and I had to tell my wife that I'd lost everything on the stock market, real estate. The house was going to go, the cars, the school savings for the kids. And I said, honey, look, something really bad has happened. And she looked at me and said, what is it? And I said, look, I've lost everything, blah, 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 blah. And then she looked up at me and she smiled. And I said, did you hear what I said? She said, honey, I heard what you said. I thought it was something serious. I said, this is serious. Don't you get it? She said, no, I knew something was wrong. You were behaving really strangely. It's not like you. And I thought you had cancer. I thought you were dying. I don't care about the money. I just want to be with you and the kids. And if we have to sleep in the street, we will. And then she hugged me and said to me, it's okay. Those few words made the difference that made the difference.
Wow. It's really powerful the way she fronted up, and I know you've been married for a long time, so I'm actually keen to jump into a bit of talk around relationships as well, because we spoke before we press record how you've got an upcoming course as well on relationships, and I know you're passionate about it. Before we dive into all that sort of chat, I was going to ask, what's your primary love language and what's that of your wives?
You know, what we really do, we do one thing. We make each other 100% focus. So relationships, people think they're 50-50, but if you make your partner your main priority and she makes you the main priority, it makes such a difference. Asking her, what can I do to make you feel more loved? See, women want love, men want respect. So if I do exactly what she wants me to do in the way that she wants me to do it, it gives her everything she needs and vice versa. And really, communication is the key. You have to be crystal clear. So I give her things, look, if you do X, Y, and Z for me, and what else can I do for you? And if she does that, I feel great. And then the energy changes and the vibrational energy changes and it becomes effortless. Really, that's what people are really not understanding, that when you make your partner your number one priority, it becomes effortless. You don't have to worry about, is she cheating on me? Is she lying to me? That's never going to be the case. Never. Not
What?
for 1 minute.
Wow. And have there been circumstances or situations where you have gone through a bit of a rough patch, or a dull moment in your marriage or relationship? And if so, what did you do to sort of get back on track and sort of get the boat floating again?
There's one time I was so upset with my wife, I wanted to leave her. And you know what she did? She grabbed my legs and wouldn't let go. She wouldn't let go, and I thought, holy moly, I guess I'm staying. But we've even developed a technique, because we would fight a lot. Really, people think we haven't the best relationship in the world, and it's pretty good. Well, I don't know if it's the best, but we have our moments. Not in the last few years, but in the past we'd have fights. We'd say things we shouldn't really be saying. And then we developed a technique. So we agreed a word that whenever we fought or were starting a fight or it got out of hand, we would use this word. And our word is ceasefire. So whenever things are going out of hand, she can use a word, I can use a word, and we immediately have to stop the fight. That was amazing for us. It gave us some clarity, and then we could stop and think and say, you know what? How important is that thing to you? Well, it's not that important, but when you're in an argument, it escalates and you forget what you're really arguing about after a while. So it's a really beautiful thing. And now I know that she can use the word and I know that I can use the word. And because of that, we don't get into that place because we know there's no point. If I escalate it, she's going to stop it. If she escalates it, I'm going to stop it. So really, it's just a beautiful system. My word is ceasefire. Yours could be anything.
Great strategy. That's a really cool tip. I was actually speaking to Evan Carmichael, the guy that does all the videos on YouTube. Evan, he does like top 10 rules of success from Steve Jobs, or I don't know if you've ever seen.
No, I haven't. Evan Carmichael. I'll look that up.
Yeah, look him up. He's actually written a book called Your One Word. And it was just relating to that, using one word. It's quite cool. Like his journey led him to defining his one word as believe. And I've just been thinking about my one word. But yeah, great advice, Anil. So anyone on the end of the line, if you're arguing, etc., and you want to sort of break it up, use ceasefire or something else. So that's awesome. I was going to just, as an extension to that, like because we did speak about, the relationship course, so I'll get you to speak a little bit about that. That's coming up. If there are, for example, if there are listeners on the other line who have perhaps experienced loss lately, maybe they've gone through divorce, etc. Do you have any sort of any coaching for them around perhaps healing a broken heart and moving on, or going through that model of,
Yeah.
anger,
Again, the
acceptance,
language.
etc.?
We have to be careful of the language, a broken heart. If you use the word broken heart, it's very, very, very painful. So there are certain steps. One is when you get divorced, you normally focus on the things that are not working. Remember why you fell in love with them, why you married them. Remember the beautiful kids that you had together. Focus on the magical moments. And even if you do divorce, you can still have an amicable relationship. I mean, you've been with them for X number of years. You've been intimate with them. You've had magical moments with them. You've maybe had kids with them. But people focus on the bad stuff, the things that haven't been working. So focus on the good stuff, and even say thank you to your partner. Say, you know what? Thank you for being in my life. Thank you for being part of my life. Thank you for choosing me. I'm sorry it didn't work out. I take responsibility for that. And you do. It takes two to tango. And by you being this way, you don't get angry, you don't get frustrated, you don't get boiled up inside. Because if you do that, it will lead to disease, and it will affect your next relationship. Joseph, the most important part of your life is it the start or the finish?
I'd probably say the present.
Yeah. So, but you've got the rest of your life. So it's like a race. The most important part of a race is not the start, it's the finish. So you're at the start, and Joseph's right. There's only the now, but there's the now leading up to the finish. So the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years of your life, make it really great. Maybe that, you did get divorced or you did separate, but maybe there's something more beautiful coming your way, but you have to be ready. So don't panic, don't get frustrated. And the thing is, forgiveness is the express pathway to freedom. The quality of your life is dependent on the depth and authenticity of the forgiveness you extend to yourself and to others. If you don't forgive and you hold it on, I promise you're going to fall ill. It's going to cost you your happiness, your joy, your fulfillment, your energy, your vitality. So, take a deep breath in and say thank you to your partner. Focus on the good stuff. Have a look at past photos and say, you know what? We really did have great times.
And what about if it didn't end well?
Again, if it didn't end well, you're still focusing on the things that aren't working.
Yeah.
So you have to
reframe
focus.
that.
Yeah. And
Right.
The thing is, you have to move on. You have to move on. It's like holding on to something, and then if you hold on to it, it's going to be extremely painful. And as human beings, we love to be right. We're very righteous, and then we'll find evidence around it to confirm. So, for example, if I call my wife, she doesn't return my call, I make it mean she doesn't love me, she doesn't honor me, she doesn't respect me. And when she comes home, she says, honey, I'm sorry, my phone died. So all that happened was the phone died, but I made it mean this. And then I found other times in our relationship, she did the same thing or did something similar. So I make a big story around it. And as human beings, we love to be right. And I love to be right about being right. So I'll find out evidence to confirm it. So it's a vicious cycle. We're very good at that.
Yeah, we are very good at it. It seems like we know what to do, but we continue to do the reverse. It's just our makeup. Yeah, I was going to say, Anil, it'd be great. Let's dive in and learn a bit more about this upcoming course that's happening in your world. I know you're passionate about helping people with relationships. What can people expect from it?
See, when we were born, we were never given a manual. We were never really taught relationships. We had to learn it. So in 3 days of intensive with me every single day, 8 hours a day, you will learn everything you need to learn about relationships. Even if you're in one or you want to find one, exactly what to say, how to say it, how to really make it a really powerful and fulfilled relationship that will be effortless. But not only that, you will learn life tools so that you can get to find out what your mission, purpose, and passion is, how to earn more money, because it's all about communication. It's about your vibrational energy. It's about your commitment. It's about you finding you and getting clarity. And a lot of it is around awareness. Awareness gives you clarity. Clarity gives you focus. Focus gives you action. Action gives you results. Results gives you momentum, which gives you everything. You will learn every aspect of being a human being and every aspect about relationships. And we go in depth. We also role play. So we'll bring some people on the call, we'll role play. And it's a beautiful, beautiful experience.
That's awesome. And I'll link those in the show notes as well, Anil, so that everyone gets the opportunity.
Fantastic, thank you.
I like to honor people's work on the show as well. And obviously writing a book is an incredible achievement, and something that I'm sort of starting to work on myself as well. Yours is called Immediate Happiness, and there is a formula on happiness that you developed in that book. I was wondering.
There is indeed.
Yeah, show
There's
it.
the book.
Awesome. Yeah, put it closer to the screen. Cool. So Immediate Happiness. Excellent. What's the subtitle? Using principles.
Using practical steps with immediate proven steps.
With immediate proven results. Excellent.
Yeah.
So I want to dive into the book. Can I hand it over to you to tell us a little bit about your piece of work, your Master of Art?
Yeah, absolutely. This is an amazing formula. There is a formula for happiness, which is happiness is equal to G cubed. The first G's that you have to give, your time, your energy, your love, your energy, your money, your gift. Give it away, not wanting anything in return. And remember what I said, in the moment you give authentically, all the pain and suffering disappears. The second G, and again, Joseph mentioned this, is gratitude. You have to be grateful for what you have and don't focus on what you don't have. So if you look at your hands, Joseph, when was the last time you thanked them?
After I watched your TEDx talk.
Good. See, people never thank their hands, their eyes, their skin. And it's the small things that are the big things. The air that we breathe. You know, what would happen if the air wasn't free? There'd be chaos. The third G is you have to grow emotionally, physically, spiritually, and mentally. Now, the beautiful thing about this formula is this. At any given time, the three G levels are different. But when you're upset, one of them is way below the rest. So all you have to do is ask yourself, which of the three G's is lowest? Giving, growing, or gratitude. And that's the only one you need to work on. Because people get overwhelmed, they get confused, they don't know what to do. This gives them clarity. And I promise you, this formula works in every single situation.
I just think it's so practical. For me, like throughout my journey, I mean, I started this show because I lost my marriage many years back and I went through a dark place. And gratitude was always the answer for me. But I was going to ask if, what are some great ways for people to give non-financially? What are some really empowering ways for them to give without having to find that they have to always pay for something or give money?
The easiest thing is to smile. Smile at someone. Even if you're on the phone, thank someone, acknowledge someone, compliment someone, do something for someone, open the door, pick up some litter, wave to someone. You see, the thing is, we never know the impact we have on other people. Someone may be on the verge of suicide, and a small act of kindness on your behalf may give them that hope that they're seeking.
Wow. It's true. Yep. It's real fulfilling. I tend to do it. I'll walk in the park and go pick up some rubbish or just, something simple like that. It's a real practical tip. I really love that. Thanks, Anil. It's because sometimes some people feel like you always got to be doing it from a financial sense, but I don't think you have to be.
No. In fact, it's sometimes more powerful doing something from the heart, because people who've got a lot of money, they give money, it means nothing to them. But for you to go in the park and pick up something, for you to acknowledge someone, it's an effort on your behalf and it's coming from the heart.
Yeah.
That's far more powerful.
Yeah.
Really, really, it's a big thing.
I like even like giving gifts. Women are really. I find, not to generalize, but women are unbelievable. They go to all this effort. They're very thoughtful, and us guys tend to like just put some money in a card and But how's the energy contrast? Like when you receive a gift that's like a home baked, some home baked cookies or something like that. It's just. I remember when I was on the road as a rep in travel industry, I used to say to the store after I train them, I'll say, guys, if you sell our products, I'll make you some of my homemade gnocchi. And like, cause they're like, wow, homemade gnocchi, like homemade pasta, it's like unbelievable. So they'd be like selling the product as soon as I left the store.
Yeah. And you know why that is?
Because it's
See, as
unique.
human, well, it's for one reason. See, as human beings, we do everything for one reason only.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's for a feeling.
For a feeling, yeah.
But we have a nice car, a nice house, money in the bank for the feeling it gives us.
Yeah.
So the feeling that they're getting is that, wow, this man really cares. Oh, I would love to do that. So the feeling you've created is magical. And it's all about feeling. Everything that we do is for a feeling. When someone goes to the trouble of baking a cake, the feeling is, wow, he really cares. I'm important. He cares about me. See, people don't do that. And if you do, it's going to be magical.
Anil, what's your advice around? I find myself in this situation lately, and I just want to see if you go through it as well. But as we're transitioning to more of a phone-based and computer-based society, I mean, we're even working from home more now, and we're not connecting as much. How do we get more in tune to the old school way of, picking up the phone and doing that call on a birthday, or, having friends over? And how do we bridge that gap of becoming a soulless society?
Well, I think it's the opposite. I'm more connected than ever. So
Okay.
I can, and don't wait for someone's birthday. The thing is, so it's my birthday coming up, but I don't advertise it. So I don't want people saying happy birthday to me. I'd rather they say, hey, Anil, how are you? It's great to see you during the year. Why wait for that birthday? So I really don't celebrate birthdays, but I celebrate people. So if they've done something great, or if I'm thinking of them, I'd often say, hey, John, I was just thinking about you. I don't know why. I just thought, you're a great person. I'll tell you what happened the other day. I had a photographer around to take some photos. And I told her, say, Terry, you're one of my top 10 people in this community and top 25 in the world. And it made her day. I could have kept it quiet from her. So what I ask you to do, if you feel something, tell the people. You don't have to wait for a special occasion. Just tell them, say, Joseph, I want to thank you for being in my life. You're a great guy. Boom. It doesn't take long. And there's no ulterior motive. I'm not trying to get something from you. But the thing is, you will leave a beautiful impression. There are two types of people, Joseph. You know that? Ones that make you happy when you enter the room, and ones that make you happy when you leave the room. Oh, dear.
Yeah, you just got to choose which one you want to be.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing. Joseph said a beautiful thing. You choose who you want to be.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. You get to choose. By you choosing, you get to control life instead of life controlling you.
It's powerful. You've been around some powerful people, some big entrepreneurs, some big personalities, Richard Branson. I saw you playing chess with Richard Branson on Necker Island.
Yeah, he beat me.
Tony Robbins. You're going to have to sharpen that game. I just wanted to, firstly, I'm really curious, how you got around these people. Did you pay to be around the proximity at their events? And also, what's the biggest thing that you took away from the experience?
So there's one thing that I did that completely changed my life. Would you like to hear it?
Of course.
Okay, if you do this one thing, I promise you magical things will happen for you and to you. This is the one sentence and changed my life. Be so amazing that you cannot be ignored. And if you are ignored, it doesn't matter, because how you show up on this planet will be this magnificent soul. Be so amazing that you cannot be ignored. So, Joseph, when you go into the park and you pick up litter, that's being amazing. If someone sees you, they're going to notice, who is that guy? Why is he doing that? That's what you want to leave them with. Wow, who is that guy? I got to know him. I need to know him. How does he do that? Why does he do that? Be so amazing. So, time with Richard Branson, he always said, say yes and work it out afterwards. That's a big thing. Have a high level of awareness, be aware, and just focus on giving, giving, giving. And I promise you, magical things will happen.
So that was the biggest takeaway. Your biggest takeaway was be so amazing that you can't be forgotten. Like you make an incredible impression.
Yeah. The first thing I when I meet someone is, may I give you a gift? That's the first thing I say, or the first few things I say. Can I help you with something? How can I serve you? And the gift is, when I first met Mike Tyson, I was just sitting around with his wife, and I said, hey, do you mind if I give you a gift? She said, no, what is it? Then I explained to her, so let me ask you, what's the greatest gift you can give your children? What do you think it is?
Great question. I would say the ability to ask great questions so they can figure it out themselves. That's something I've just come up with.
Yeah. So in my opinion only, the greatest gift you can give your kids is this: give them the ability to handle life by throwing adversity at them that they could reasonably handle.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I gave her a little exercise that she could use. So if you start giving and not wanting anything in return, anything you get back is a big bonus. It's a big thing. It's a big thing.
When you meet powerful entrepreneurs like Richard Branson, Tony Robbins, Mike Tyson, etc., because impression, you've only got a small finite amount of time to make a first impression, for example. What's your practical advice around? Is there anything that you do apart from just offering that first gift? The power of smiling or your energy, or can you give us a bit more understanding of how to show up powerfully to new relationships when you've never met the person?
Yeah. So listen to what they're saying and see how you can help them. So if you're talking to an influencer and you know another influencer, you say, hey, John, I noticed that you like to speak on stages. I've got a friend of mine who runs event management in 50 states, and he does 250 events a year. Would you let me introduce you to him, and hopefully something great will happen? So you have to create something for them. Not a lot of people say, hey, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? No, you have to serve them, offer them something that you can give them, but make sure that, if you offer something, you do deliver. Once you start delivering, they'll start to trust you, because remember, hundreds and thousands of people are chasing them, but they're only the way to get their attention is if you can provide something for them that will help them in some way, or their family.
Yep, I love that. Anil, I was going to move on to legacy, and obviously you're spreading a mission of helping transform lives, relationships, helping people become happier, because your pain is something I guess you don't want to see in other people, or help them overcome it. What's your legacy?
My legacy is to reach 1 billion people so that their lives can change by using this simple formula, by changing this. This is the most expensive real estate in the world, in between your ears. Do you rent it out to people who shouldn't be in there? Of course you do. Don't do that. Is there forgiveness in here? There should be. By you forgiving, it'll change you. By you letting go, by you being kinder, more gentler, being so amazing. If you can just change one thing, the compounding effect of that is enormous. Einstein said the greatest force on this earth is compounding interest. He's actually wrong. The greatest force is compounding. If today you decided to be 1% happier, 1% more playful, 1% more giving, generous, present, blah, 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 imagine what would happen after a week, a month, a year, 5 years, 10 years. That compounding effect is huge. So I urge you, just be a 1% changer today. Even if it's a 0.1% change, it'll make a difference, a huge difference.
Incredible. Is there anything that you're struggling with in your life right now, Anil, that you want to work on, that you have to compound a bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really great at one thing. I can create transformation in a human being in minutes, but my issue is marketing, you know, so that's something I'm working on. You may be great at something, but you may not be great at something else. And if you're great at one thing, just focus on that. Be master of one, and then get someone else to handle the other stuff. You should not be doing things that you don't like. Why should you? Do only things that you love. You're not at school anymore. You can do what you like, when you like, how you like. Do things that you love, and I promise you, you'll start feeling differently.
It's good advice. And I think you are good at marketing. You've got the heart on the sleeve, and that represents, you know, that's symbolic. Like when we look at this interview, everyone will, to be honest, I just noticed it. I know that you always wear it in the interviews, but I wasn't necessarily, I'm looking at the camera rather than the screen. So that's why. But so that's your form of marketing. And do you wear the heart on the sleeve for a significant level of significance? Oh, right. Is that did you actually get it tattooed as well?
I did, yeah. But I always wear the heart here, and I'll tell you the story.
Yeah.
So I have very poor dress sense, even though I'm nearly a man. And my wife would always say, "Are you going out like that?" And I said, "I guess not." So I'd come back, she'd dress me, and I'd go out. And I thought, I can't do this. There must be a different way. I'll wear black. And I thought, well, black's a bit boring. What epitomizes what I do? Love, a heart. So I thought I'd put it on my sleeve. And I thought, well, no one's going to see it. Then I thought I'll put it on my shirt. And I thought, well, you know, I'll have to have that made, and I've got to make at least 10 or 20 of those. So I did, and it was amazing. So the last 6 years, I've worn the same shirt every single day. And I'm glad you don't have smelly vision.
I'm sure you've got a few, I'm sure you've got a few of them, but no, yeah. That's good, and reduces decision fatigue. You're a high performer.
Oh, it's so easy. You know, sometimes I sleep in this and wake up and I'm ready.
Yeah, that's it. You know, it's no, it looks good. It's a nice touch. So, yeah. Look, I want to move on to. I've got a couple last questions, if that's all right, Anil.
Anything you like.
I appreciate it. I'm passionate about helping people who feel stuck with their purpose in life. I was just wondering if there is a listener on the other side who is struggling with it, but really wants to do something, perhaps in an entrepreneurial sense. Do you have some practical advice on how they can discover what they're meant to do?
Yeah, it really is very, very simple, but simple isn't always easy. So there's two distinctions there. So for me, this is what I did. When I was suicidal, I started to give. It made me feel good. So I was aware it made me feel good. So be aware of what makes you feel good. Follow what makes you feel good. And if you do something and it fills you up, say you're working with a child and you do something and it lights up the child and you light up. So, oh my God, that felt amazing. That's the clue. Follow that path. Follow, the path of most joy, and you'll get the answer. And a beautiful thing will happen. You'll find that it'll be an effortless journey, because you'll find the easiest way, and you'll find your gift and the power of you, the greatness inside of you, by just following the awareness of what makes you happy, what makes you lit up, and just follow that path, and it will take you to the right place, always. But you need the awareness. That's the thing. Awareness gives you that clarity.
And it's always joy. Do you believe that? That is the signal of, because I've had so many great entrepreneurs on the show, and they've actually said the same thing. They've
It
actually said,
must be true. but
tune
but
into the joy.
three things happen when you find your mission, purpose, and passion. Time disappears, your energy levels go up, and you're joyous.
Wow.
The fourth thing is you may tear up and you may cry because you're present to love.
And when's the last time you cried?
Oh, I cry 3 or 4 times a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what tears you?
I'm not bawling.
Yeah. Tears of like, what tears you up, Anil? What invokes the tears?
When kids are in pain, I hate that.
Wow.
When kids are joyous, that tears me up too because it fills me up. I don't like people suffering.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah,
And is this people that you're coaching, or when you say kids, is this young aspiring, students or entrepreneurs or?
Well, it could be some kids of parents I'm coaching. They're going through a difficult period, or even just watching a TV program. I tell you what, the other day, a lady was driving and she had a dream that she was going to back up and hit her child. I don't like that. It was horrible.
Wow.
I think it's mostly around kids, because it's difficult for them. They just need a little bit of help. They don't always have the best help.
Okay. And obviously you're a father, so you can relate to it.
Yeah.
I've got 3 last questions, and then the last question. They're 3 rapid fire questions. The first one is, what's one thing that people can do to live a happier life?
Okay. First thing to do is just to give from the heart, give without wanting anything in return, and just love yourself. It's okay. Love yourself. You're not perfect, but there's perfection in imperfection. A lot of people think I'm not worthy, I'm not, blah, blah, blah. But remember, the day you were born, you made so many people happy. You can't remember that day, but I promise you. Just go to a maternity ward and see what happens when a baby's born. It brings so much joy to so many people.
Wow. That's really powerful. I've never, ever thought of that.
Yeah.
Incredible. Unbelievable. Really good point, Anil.
Yeah, so beautiful.
Next question is, what's one thing that people can do to live a purposeful life?
Find the things that light you up. Find your greatness. Find what you're great at. Find what you do that lights you up. What you do makes a difference, and follow that path. And it's a beautiful path, and you'll never, ever regret that.
Okay. So find what lights you up and follow that path.
Yeah.
Excellent. And then the last rapid fire question is, what can people do to live a more regret-free life?
Well, the thing is, honestly, you're always going to have regrets. And the secret is, have the regrets, but don't live in a world of regret. So one of my regrets is not learning a particular language, my home language. So, I focus on it occasionally, but I don't live in that world. So it's okay to have regrets, but don't live in that world. Live in a world of, what am I going to do about it? What could I change? How could I show up more differently? How could I be so amazing? By asking these great quality questions. If you're upset, something happened to you, don't live in that upset. Like a child is present to that upset, but then a few minutes later, it's joyous again. Be that child. Don't live in that regret. Live in the future. Live in the greatness.
Incredible. Live in the greatness. Thank you. I appreciate it. Powerful, powerful talk. So my last question is this, Anil. I've really enjoyed the chat. It's been amazing having you on.
Thank you.
My last question is, Anil, if today was your last day and I handed you a piece of paper and a pen, and you had one thing that you could write down to inspire future generations to believe in their inner greatness, to believe in themselves, what would you write down on that piece of paper? Mad.
Made a difference.
Wow. Okay.
He made a difference. That's all I want to be remembered by. He made a difference. Maybe that I was happy when he entered the room.
Not left the room.
I tell you, there was a time, I promise you, there was a time that people were happy when I left the room, because I was a little bit of a naughty boy in the past.
We've all been that. We've all been that person, right? Life's
Yes.
an amazing journey. It's pretty special.
Yeah.
I want to just pass it over to you. Like, just before we wrap up, I just want to graciously thank you for your time again. I was introduced to you by Paul and Tracy Smelsky.
Smolinski. I bailed him out there.
from Intro Beers. There you go. I'll give him a wrap. I just wanted to pass it over to you, just to acknowledge and thank you. Is there any last sort of words that you got for the listeners that you'd like to sort of tell them?
Life is happening for you, not to you. What other people think of you is none of your business. You cannot change the past, but you can create a brand new future by the decisions you make today. If you decide to take on a new habit every month, in 12 months, you have 12 new habits. In 5 years, you have 60 new habits. The compounding effect of that is enormous. It's not about you. It's about the difference that you make. There is greatness inside of you. Look deep inside of you and find that greatness, and everything changes. You can do this. You must do this. It's not about you. It's about the difference you make.
There you have it, guys. It's time to take action and step into that greatness. Anil, where do they follow you?
My new website is meetanil.com.
Yep.
And if you want to find out how happy you are, I've developed the happiness test, which is myhappytest.com. You'll get a numerical score, but you'll get 25 videos on how to increase your happiness score so that you can lead a richer, fuller, happier life.
So guys, go and do the test, and it's time to get happy. And if you don't know someone who is happy, it's time to send them that link. Anil, I really appreciate it. It's the first time.
Thank you so much.
I know it'll be the first of many. So I'll look
always available.
I look forward to sharing this this interview with the world. And I just want to say thanks very much for coming on the show.
No, thank you for inviting me. And, I want to thank Joseph. He's making a difference that makes a difference. And really grateful, really, really grateful. Thank you.
Thanks, Anil.